This is the big one, no holds barred. It's the undefeated Tony Wacholz has not lost a game this season, sitting on top of Division 1 against Matthew Tones on 14 points. Myself, I am playing this Grixis Dragons list that I've been playing since the start. I suspect it's going to go through a serious amount of refinement as I get more time. It's quite a fun list to play. Basically, you just use Sarkhan, try and jam enormous dragons and win the match. Tony's played out his Dragon Skull Summit as Mountain. I'm a bit confused at this stage what he's on because he's done nothing by turn 3. Normally this deck has a nice curve at 1, 2, and 3. So he's got 6 cards in hand, so I'm a bit curious. Dragon's Horde is really awesome for drawing cards, and it's also good ramp. And I'm pretty confident here because I think my top end is far superior to his top end. So if this game goes on longer, I'm pretty confident I can get the win. So here I cast the Dragons. The Dragon's Horde is going to get a counter. That means if I don't have a play later on, I can actually tap it and draw a card. So my 5/5 Dragon, that's the first cab off the rank, that easily checks his Rekindling Phoenix. I suspect the Lightning Bolt or an Abrade here. This deck generally plays a fair few Abrades, so I'm not going to bite on that. I can swing back and hit him the other way and outpace the Rekindling Phoenix. And if I swing the other way, my thinking here is if he's got a blocker and he's got the Lightning Strike, then he has to tap out on his own turn. So again here I've got the choices, Nicol Bolas or Vivictus. I go for Vivictus because this needs an answer immediately. It's a massive 6/6. You can see I'm going to be able to play the other Nicol Bolas next turn and draw a card. The only downside of Dragon's Horde is you have to cast actual dragons. So he's going to use 2 cards. I'm going to 2-for-1 him here. He's going to minus Chandra and hit my Vivictus and fire off whatever that was an Abrade that he had in hand. I can play the Nicol Bolas Planeswalker not next turn, but the turn after, because Dragon's Horde only taps for dragons, and the Bolas Planeswalker is not a dragon, obviously. So he's just given up. He's not going to use the Rekindling Phoenix to defend his Chandra. I was a little bit surprised by that. So I've got a number of options here. I drew a card and hit Sarkhan. So I'll just get Chandra off the battlefield. I've got a number of options. I can this is the best one. Go for Sarkhan. I can either filter or play out my Planeswalker. So I'll play out the Planeswalker. It's Bolas. I think watching this back, I played this game a few days ago, 3 or 4 days ago. I suspect there's a hell of a lot of misplays on my side here as well. So here's Hazaret. You can see he's got 1 card in hand, so that's putting a bit of pressure on me now. I don't want to go to, there's 9 damage, I don't want to go to 3 because I suspect a Lightning Strike to finish me off as that last card. So I have to block, unfortunately. Now, this is an interesting one here because I think if I can just hold off for a turn, particularly with Bolas, because Bolas can minus and do 7 damage, I've effectively got him at 8, so I've only just got to survive the next turn if I can get in with Commanding Dragon this time. So first I'm going to filter and see what I can find. I find a second Bolas. Frustratingly, I'm a mana short of being able to play out 2 dragons here. You can see Dragon's Horde, I can draw a lot of cards. So a second Glorybringer. I keep the Demanding Dragon back because it can, it's a pretty effective blocker. But I actually have a misplay here because he's going to just discard twice of Hazaret, put me to 4. So there's no way out. He takes the game. So that's a big misplay there. I had to hold back that Glorybringer. So I misplayed quite badly. I'm going to concede. If I'd held back the Glorybringer, I could have then played the second Glorybringer out and killed that Elemental. And again here, I don't know why I kept this. This is a really bad hand to keep. It's got no black for that Vraska's Contempt. I'm kind of hoping he does nothing here so that I can quickly get to Sarkhan and start filtering. But this time he gets a pretty aggressive curve. So here's Sarkhan. I'm pretty desperate here for black mana, but I have another massive misplay here. So I get rid of the mountain and find a Spire buff. Now, what I should have played my third land as Aether Hub, because right now I can't hold up Vraska's Contempt until turn 5, and look at all the pressure he's got going on the board now. I can actually play out my dragon here as well, but I missed that play because I'm concentrating on Vraska's Contempt. I could have had that 6/6 out. I got the 2 mana from Sarkhan and tapped the 4 lands. So I'm kind of in big trouble at this stage. This I thought was a risky attack from him because I've had a removal spell. I could have kept my Sarkhan alive, but I don't. So now it's like, please give me a black source, and I don't get it. And because I mucked up last time, Victus cannot be played out this turn. So I just play out Sarkhan in the hope that it draws in an attacker. Still nothing going on, but I mean, at this stage it's pretty much gone. Glorybringer is going to seal the deal here. There's 14 damage. I don't think I have a card in my... actually, Sweltering Sun is the only thing in my deck that could possibly get me out of this, because he took down Sarkhan, but I don't draw it. So Tony very quickly takes down Standard 2-0. I don't mind the deck. I need a bit of work on it, obviously. Now, if you want to see value to the extreme, this is the match you want to watch. I'm playing this Bant midrange deck again, and I'm up against humans. I'm not really, normally I play Green White Value Town or Blue Moon, so this one I'm not really convinced with the blue splash. But I don't really have the time at the moment to, I don't have my thumb drive that has my decks on it. I don't really have the time to be mucking around making decks. So you can see here I just go straight for the tireless tracker because he saw my hand with Quetzal Freebooter and I didn't want him to play a meddling mage and name tracker. Tracker's too important in this for this deck. So the only thing he knows about now is Noble Hierarch. Quetzal is a bit of a problem. I've got 3 Spell Quellers in my deck. And this card is a real nuisance. Reflect Mage bouncing my tracker. Again, he copies the Reflect Mage. That was a big play. He knew I had the Noble Hierarch as well, so he didn't know I had this though, so that's going to buy me a little bit of time. Jamoka's command is not so fantastic against humans. It can function as a removal spell, and these Reflector Mages are just killing me now. I am going to be able to play Tireless Tracker out next turn. But you can see I'm down to 10 life and taking a beating already. And so he's going to violin another Quetzal Freebooter. He'll take my Dromoka's command. And this board looks pretty hopeless from here. So what you're going to see for the rest of this match is a thing of beauty and a selling point for this green-white deck. Of course, if he has a Reflector Mage, I'm just straight up dead. He's got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 power on the board, and something like Athalia's Lieutenant. But we actually discussed in chat, he ticked that Aether Vial to 3. So he can't violent a Lieutenant. So when he attacks like this, I know there's no Lieutenant coming, so it's a free block. I go to 4. So now I've got to play to my outs. I'm going to take 2 damage from the Quetzal Freebooter. So I'm thinking, what can I possibly play here? I can't play a second knight because, oh, I can actually. But then if he has a Reflector Mage, I just lose. So I have to play the Noble Hierarch and the Voice of Resurgence, so that I'm still protected against Reflector Mage. I still, of course, have to deal with the Kite Sail Freebooter. That's the other issue here. So he swings everybody again. I don't know why he sent the Noble Hierarch. I think he just thought he had the match, I'm guessing. So I'm actually dead on board next turn. I need something here. And I get a Spell Queller. So that's a handy top deck. So now I'm thinking, which way do I want to go with this? I can't crack that Windswept Heath or I'm dead because he only has to get in with a Kite Sail. He digs the Aether Vial up to 4. That really confused me. I don't know what the humans play for 4 mana. And so now I've got a pretty good block on him because if he doesn't have the removal spell, you can see again no vials on 3 this time. So he's not going to be vialing a Reflector Mage or a Phantasmal Image to copy the Mage. So this is just a chump, not a chump, sorry, just a straight up block. He can't actually get me because if he swings the 2 Kite Sails, I'll kill one of them because it doesn't get the prowess trigger. And now that this guy comes in, so he's going to start doing some work and leading the recovery. Daphne Township on top is a very interesting one. I'm extremely tempted, and I've got to start putting some pressure on. So I'm going to get in with the Elemental here because my Knight's got his Reflect Mage covered, and Spellqueller's covering the 2 Kite Sails. So he's got nothing going at the moment. I'm also protected against Thalia's Lieutenant because the Lieutenant's only going to be able to buff Kite Sail to put 2 damage. So he doesn't have a viable attack this time. This is suicide. I'm not really sure what this is all about. So I'm going to quickly... he changes his mind actually. I'm going to keep the Gavany Township on top because it gives me inevitability. Eternal Witness I don't want at this stage. So here you can see he's vialed in another freebooter, but again, because I've got the Spell Queller, I'm safe. I choose not to go for the Township activation this turn because I want the card draw from Tracker. And again, this is going to drop him to 7. It's a 2-turn clock if he doesn't block here. So he's going to be forced to go up the Hierarch. So there's going to be no more Exalted triggers for the Kite Sail freebooters. I'm protected here against Thalia's Lieutenant. You can see you can vial it in, but I can actually use Knight to sack one of my... I can fetch the Forest of the Heath and then use Knight to sack it in order to get another land to get something like a Ghost Quarter as well, and Ghost Quarter, and then I also can get life that way. So I'm protected against Thalia's Lieutenant from there. That was just utter suicide. He swung all 3 to get me to 2, but gave me back the Jamoka's command. So from there, I don't think he can beat me. I've actually got him dead on board. You can see I've got 10, 14, 17 power. So he got me down to 1, but I've managed to fight back pretty well. I'm going to crack this. The reason I'm cracking here is because I didn't want the Eternal Witness, and now I don't want the Hierarch. I definitely want that Path to Exile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack the clue so I can Path to Exile on my end step, so that if he has any other threat that he can vial in, well, actually, I'm a bit surprised he doesn't do that, to be honest. If he has any other threat that he can vial in, then I can Dramoka's command it away. So he really needs 3 things to block, but I don't believe that would even be enough. So the gang's getting in now. You can see he's only got 2 Kite Sails, so any person he vials in anyway would have to be on jump blocking duties. So from here, I don't think I can lose. He knows I've got the Dramoka's command. Now we see the Thalia's Lieutenant. Thalia's would actually have me dead if he had some way to hit me on the way back. But I'm going to remove that block of Dramoka's command and fight back from 1 life to defeat humans in game 1. We go to game 2 now. And that's not the start you want to see from my side. This deck doesn't play Collected Company. It has a top end of Planeswalker, so Teferi and Jace the Mind Sculptor. Yeah, this is, and I think for sideboard I just bring in I'll simply bring in extra removal. So Knight of the Reliquary here is, I'm going to take a hit from Parish anyway, so this is just sort of protecting against Thalia's Lieutenant. But again, this pesky Reflector Mage. So again, I'm taking a huge beating here. 5 points coming through, 6 points coming through, I'm down to 10. I kind of make a misplay coming up here with this Windswept Heath, because at this stage, Path to Exile sort of has to come off the top if I'm to have any chance. I've got 4 Path to Exiles and 2 Settle the Wreckage. I let the Thalia resolve, which I probably shouldn't have done. And now I'm going to crack and bring in Spellqueller, and you can see again I fetched the wrong land. I fetched a forest, so I didn't actually Spellqueller the Hierarch. And the worst thing here is that I just have to chump block. I would have liked to have got a blue land and brought in Spellqueller to block Reflector Mage. That was a massive misplay from me. So I'm down to 3, so you play to your outs here. So I'm looking at the board and thinking, how can I win? He's got 4 attackers. Only 2 of them are lethal, so I have to block 2. If he removes one of my cards, I'm just dead. One of my creatures, I'm dead. So I can't play out the Knight here. Actually, sorry, I can play out the Knight. I'm not going to fetch because I'd go too low. So I've got the exact right number of points. A 4/4 Knight. I cannot block, so I'm going to... If he has a Reflector Mage here, I'm dead. And again, the issue here is I don't have... Militia Bugler is a big one here. He's just making this board wider and wider. At this stage, I'm pretty much dead because I don't have Settled Wreckages now because I don't have the second white source. Noble Hierarch's going to be on jump blocking duties this turn if he swings everybody. Kite Sail is going to reveal land, so you can see I've got no outs now. So in comes the team. Now this is not lethal, but he's going to force 2 chump blockers. So I keep my Knight on the board, I drop to 1. I only have 1 out in my deck, and there it is there, Worship. I cannot crack a fetch or I'm dead. So now I cross my fingers that he doesn't have Reflector Mage, and I can just sit back and start to recover. I desperately need to hit a land off the next. This is a free attack because Militia Bugler and Kite Sail together can't get me. So he's going to play Militia Bugler here and find something. Kind of triggers go on the stack. He finds I'm actually dead on board right now because he's got Hierarch and Cavern of Souls. He can play out Phantasmal Image, copy Reflector, and bounce my Knight. But he doesn't do it for some reason. He plays out a Champion of the Parish instead. So he missed an opportunity for the win there because Worship, you need a creature on the board. He doesn't bother to attack. I need a creature and I find it. So that was kind of his one window. So his only opportunity now, especially with humans where they don't play a lot of removal, is to get rid of the Worship. So in chat later on, he told me he's digging pretty hard now. Here's a Reflector Phantasmal Image again, the one that he drew before, and this time he's going to copy Militia Bugler. But unfortunately for Tony, the boat had sailed. I have no interest in blocking for the rest of the match, and I'm just going to dig for my own threats here. and hope he doesn't find a Reclamation Sage. So this time I get my Gavany, so I'm just going to start using Gavany just to buff the team up. And along comes Baneslayer Angel. So from here you can see I'm down to 1 life. He desperately needs to find that. He desperately needs to find his Reclamation Sage to have any chance now. He just keeps adding to the board. At this stage, he's only got a Kite Sail Freebirder as a blocker. So I can actually close this match out pretty quickly. I'm just going to use Gavany Township, just keep pumping everybody. And I actually have him down to 8, so he's on a 2-turn clock now. Because he's going to be forced to block next turn if the Kite Sail. Mantis Rider is just basically a chump blocker, especially because next turn my Birds of Paradise is going to be able to be a 3/4, so Mantis Rider can't even beat it. He's just attacking just to keep me down at 1, in case anything funny happens. So I'm just going to get my second white source while I can now, just in case I do draw that off the top. And I've got my Quarter. It doesn't really do anything now because he's just going to keep chipping me down to 1 life every turn, so I'm not going to bother playing it out. He can't beat all my creatures off the board. He can't beat my creatures off the board, so there's no point in me even gaining life. It all hinges on him being able to beat that worship. So gain a Noble Hierarch. Each time he plays these creatures, I think I'm safe, because if you had a Reclamation Sage, you'd just be jamming it so fast. The other thing I'm sort of wary of here, I'm looking for is a Spell Queller. A Spell Queller on a Reclamation Sage would be excellent. A second Birds of Paradise, so I'm going to just play that out first because I'm going to be pumping Gavany. So now my Baneslayer is lethal, so I can swing with the birds. This is going to put him down to 4, so he needs the top deck right now or he's dead. He does not, and so I take Modern 2 games to 0 after he got me down to 1 in each time. Now, I'm trying this deck out for the first time. I'm going back to Blue-Red Delver. I played this in Season 1 and 2. You can see I've had to mull to 4 here because I couldn't find a single land. I put the Vapor Snag to the bottom. Circle's a Street Wraith, so I'm guessing straight away Blue-Black. I forget the Blue-Black Death Shadow. I really didn't want to fetch a basic mountain there because I need a cantrip. So I'm pretty happy to see that he didn't get the. I'm pretty happy to see that he didn't get the second land, wasteland. I'm going to bolt down the Insectile Aberration. I know he's got days, but I can pay for it. And his Delver doesn't flip, so it's a big one. So it is a wasteland as second land. He's going to waste away my volcanic island, sorry. I don't mind him doing this because I think my deck races blue-black faster than his. I'm sort of holding on to that Price of Progress at the moment, which is a final 2 points of damage plus a prowess trigger. A second blue source for Force of Will would be nice. This deck actually only plays 17 lands. Now again, I'm faced with this issue. Do I want to play a volcanic island or a mountain? So again, I go for the volcanic island because I've already seen a wasteland. I know he's got the days, so I can just get that out of his hand. He's down to 2 cards. The reason I do that is because if you can see, he's got Thoughtseize now. He's going to play the land, so he's down to 2 cards. If he wants to force of will anything, he's going to be out of cards if he's got them, even got them. So we're in a straight up race now. And again, I fancy my deck in the race, particularly now with 2 prowess creatures on the board. If he has another wasteland, which he does, it's just a disaster. So now I'm in kind of big trouble because I think mathematically he's going to win the race, but that Flooded Strain was a big draw. Now I'm kind of thinking, does he have a third wasteland, which would be incredibly unlucky for me? Because I'm running out of volcanic islands. I think I've got one more in this deck. Again, I'm thinking now I need something to happen, and because it's narrowed Mesa, it's got to happen next turn. If I get a cantrip, I can put 4 damage on next turn, but it would be 1 short. But he's cracked now, so any cantrip wins it for me next turn. If I don't get a cantrip, he wins. If he has a Death Shadow, he just wins. There's another wasteland. So he's drawn all 4 wastelands. It's just crazy. And I got the bolt, so I actually have lethal on board because they'll get prowess triggers and do 4 damage. You can see I'm at one life. This is like the 3rd time in a row he's got me to 1 life. So he needs 2 spells to get him out of this. He's only got 2 in hand. He doesn't have it, so I take game 1. On to game 2 now. I'm going to keep this because so many times a Swift Spear have ridden a Swift Spear solely to victory. I fetched instead of playing a volcanic island there because you can see how many lands I've got in a 17 land deck. I want to thin out really quickly. He's going to wasteland. I don't really care this time. Into ponder, so he's doing nothing. So he's got 5 cards left in hand. The only thing I'm wary of is now I have to play the volcanic because I want to hold up days. I bolt just to get the prowess trigger. I'm very wary of Death's Shadow here because I need to get him low enough where Death's Shadow is not going to do enough. So here I'm kind of hoping Death's Shadow, but then I can't because of days. Days won't work. This time I don't use the bolt, I just hold it back in reserve. I've already played 1. He shocks himself, which was pretty cool. That's fine. Death Shadow is a 4/4. So now I'm thinking, how am I going to win this? I'm not going to swing in and then bolt him because he's got too many ways to gain life. I'm hoping here he's going to swing at me, which he does. I've got 19. There's no way he can do 19 damage in 1 turn, so I take the damage. Now I hope that he doesn't have a blocker for my Swift Spear. I'm pretty confident I can win. He does with Delver, but I don't think I think he would be feeling safe from here. So I'm not going to go for the kill. And there's a 3rd lightning bolt. That's just crazy. I've drawn all 4 bolts, and so I swing the Swift Spear. No block, so then I'm going to fire the bolts off. So Swift Spear, with 2 bolts is going to prowess Swift Spear, which counts as a bolt anyway. He's got no blockers. So this time Swift Spear's up to 3. You can see Force of Will, pitching Force of Will. So he's got to have something in his hand here, or he's dead. And he can't believe I've got my 4th bolt. It evens it up after he got his 4 wastelands last time. And that is going to be the victory. I take Legacy 2 games to 0 after I took Modern 2 games to 0. So I'm upset there, 8 points to 4 over Tony.